Good evening. Good evening and welcome to the Gettysburg Area School Board meeting. Purpose of this meeting is to conduct the business of the Gettysburg Area School District. Board of Directors meetings and committee meetings are open to the public but are not public meetings. All school district residents who wish to make public comment should sign in prior to the start of the meeting and request to speak during citizens' participation. Public comment is welcome and all issues will be referred to the appropriate board committee or administrator. Comments will be summarized in the official board minutes, which will be made available by contacting the business office. Please take a moment to silence your cell phones and any other devices. Brooke, roll call. Ryan and Tim are absent and excused this evening. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jason.
Yeah, for communications, we just have two quick ones. We have Officer O'Shea is going to come up and just give a little bit of information on a program that we're looking at putting into place, slow rolling it out kind of this year and then be utilizing it. It's just basically to bolster safety initiative. So, Officer O'Shea, thanks.
Thank you. What Jason's referring to is something called Raptor Alert System. It's an app-based emergency management system which will allow us to activate emergency alerts and conduct our accountability through that system. I believe I placed at everyone's desk a quick pamphlet. What that shows is what the app is going to look like on the cell phone or on the laptop computer as you work through it. This would be the initial screen, the first page. For example, if you pressed lockdown, it would immediately take you to the second page. It's a dual authenticated emergency management system, which means you then have to slide. That is all you have to do, and the emergency is now activated throughout the building that you are selected under. This one happens to be Franklin Township. If it was a less severe emergency, like possibly a hold in place or secure the building, you can also select add subtype and pick a subtype underneath that so that the people know exactly what it is. So once you do this, the dual authentication and reach the third page, that is basically telling you that the emergency has been activated. What it does is it actually gives you a button right in the middle. You don't have to get out of the app and then dial 911 for the emergency. If you hit that button, it automatically dials 911 on your phone. From that screen, if you choose to, up in the upper right-hand corner, there'll be a menu, but on the next page, you'll see the list of directions that you can choose. From this screen, you can do a number of different things. One would be at the very bottom, the person who activated the emergency can actually end the emergency from this screen. So if for some reason you dual authenticated and accidentally activated an emergency, that quick you can deactivate it. The same text message and email that went out to every staff member of that building activating the emergency will deactivate it just as quickly. But the other thing that's important from this screen is under directory, if they selected that and went to the next page, this system integrates with our Skyward student access system, so they can actually take attendance directly from their device. So in the case of an evacuation, where normally we have to hold up green cards, red cards, we have runners to see who's missing, who's not. In the event of an emergency, the principal normally becomes the incident commander initially. From their cell phone as the incident commander, they will be able to take attendance immediately. They'll be able to see exactly which students are missing. And if those students are with another teacher, those other teachers will be able to manually put them in, and they will automatically remove from the roles of missing students. So it not only activates the emergency, but we'll use it for accountability moving through that entire emergency process. And then again, if you chose to end the activation, it's dual authenticated. You can't accidentally end the emergency without dual authentication. And that would be what the last screen is. Where we're at with that, the other thing on the front page is what's called Team Assist. with that button there specifically, principals will designate who they want for specific incidents under Team Assist. It could be a fight, it could be a medical emergency. We don't need the entire building notified in the event of those emergencies. We'll just notify the specific individuals that principal has selected under that one. What will happen is, right now, the principals all have this, and they have the opportunity to play with the system and work through it under what's called Drill Manager. After the first of the year, we're hoping that all staff will upload this and be trained on the system. And then for every drill that we have after that, fire drill, lockdown drills, any emergency drills, the system actually has a drill manager built into it. We'll be able to run our drills through this system for the rest of the year, and then hopefully next year basically go live with an actual emergency management system. This isn't the end-all. This is just another tool. We're still going to maintain the existing emergency protocols that we have in place. So we're not looking to replace everything that we already have. And that's basically it. Did you have any questions in reference to the system? What it's going to look like?
I do. So if something's activated at a school, does it just stay within that school? It comes to you?
So right now, what we're doing, we're still working through some of those bugs. Everyone in that building that's assigned to that building will get notified, and then the admin team will get notified. So myself, the 2 officers, superintendents, facilities management. So anybody on that admin team here at the building, they're also going to get the same notifications.
And did you say we're currently in a trial period with this and giving it a try? And
no. So where we're at with this is the principals have it. They have the opportunity to play with it right now.
Okay.
Just so that they can familiarize themselves with it. They're going to be the main people using this for their drills. After the first of the year, we plan to train and instruct the rest of our staff members.
And the biggest advantage compared to what we do now is that this will be a lot faster, getting the key players at the incident, and then also the accountability with student attendance and so on. Those are the big advantages over what we're doing now? That's
correct. The speed with which we can send this message out to everyone in a building instantaneously, and then the accountability. This accountability feature will actually follow through the reunification process. So if we had to relocate to another off-site and do our student reunification there, as that student is moved through the system, in other words, gets onto a bus, the teachers can actually say, student is on a bus, student is at the relocation. And then when they're reunified with a parent, the message through Skyward goes out to every parent that's listed on Skyward saying your student has already been picked up, so that we don't have 5 or 6 different parents coming to our reunification site. So there's a lot of extra features to it. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I would think, I would think the other thing too is when that would go through to all the teachers, it would probably be less of a panic situation. Like alarms going off in school and all that stuff, and everybody's kind of getting worked up. The students really don't know yet what's going on. The teachers are kind of in control, so the students aren't just losing their minds.
To an extent, when we won't have the audible alarms through the building, but when this is active on their laptops, it will activate a message that will pop up on their laptops and give some type of an audible alarm. So if they are in the middle of instruction and the laptop and their phone are at the desk behind them, they will be notified that, hey, there's an emergency. Glance at your laptop and be able to see what the emergency actually is. Any other questions or concerns?
Thank you, Chief. Moving on to routine approvals, we're going to do a little something different here this evening because 2 of the routine approvals need to be separated out for... Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he said earlier none. Yeah, no public comment. On routine approvals, separating out 2. So the first 2 items under routine approval, 5.1 and 5.3, are lumped together. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any question on the motion on the floor? Hearing no question, roll call. Jeremy?
Yes.
Amy Beth?
No.
Tim?
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Al,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
and I vote yes. The next item is 5.2. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Question on the floor? Hearing no question, roll call. Michelle,
Yes.
Al,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Amy Beth,
No.
Jeremy
I'll abstain from this.
Jeremy abstains, and I vote yes. The last of the routine approvals is 5.4. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Question on the floor?
Quick question, Dr. Perrin. I know a lot of districts are really struggling filling their staffing needs, especially support staff. How are we in that regard? I noticed that we had some custodians, cashiers, and others there.
All positions are more difficult to find right now. It takes longer at times to find the right person for the role.
Hearing no additional questions, roll call. Mike,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Amy Beth,
No.
Al,
Yes.
and I abstain. That concludes our routine approvals. You'll notice under agenda items for board action, we do not have any this evening. Moving directly to informational items. The first informational item is 7.1 Policy 830, Security and Computerized Personal Information Breach Notification. Do any board members have any questions related to that particular information item?
Those are both brand-new policies that were reviewed by the policy committee, and the policies were created in order to meet the needs based on changes in the law.
Hearing no questions, the next informational item is 7.2 Policy 830.1, Data Governance and Storage and Security. Are there any questions related to that informational item? .3 CHIP 5-year plan, admin building window replacement project. Any questions?
Can we just make sure that everybody understands that we are going with admin window replacements and not Franklin Township? If that's how I understood it in the FNF meeting?
Yeah, well, there was Franklin Township and admin windows on, and we just going to do the admins, and next year put them back in the 5-year plan to do Franklin Township following year.
Right, as I'm seeing the informational item, and I would concur with you, the way I'm reading it, it deals directly with the administration building and nothing to do with Franklin at this particular time.
Right, and I'm mentioning that because we voted to do Franklin 2 meetings ago. And
This
now
was
we're-
based on finances, so we're not sticking with the money that we had allotted for, which would have done Franklin this, and then, of course, that's what the price come back. So we didn't want to dig into the pockets of anything else.
Yeah, if I can jump in here, Michelle, the reference to Franklin, we had actually approved RLPS to do the design for Franklin, so we can go out and competitively bid that here at a later date, but in the near future. It wasn't for actually moving forward with construction. It was just designed for Franklin Township. But Tim's correct, and that'll be contained in next year's 5-year budget just due to funding.
The next item is 7.4, also a CHIP 5-year plan Kubota tractor. Any question? The next item is 7.5, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we have a short presentation from Mr. Lusk related to a program or a recognition portion that he would like to implement.
Yes, good evening. Good evening. Thank you. Before I get into reviewing the Pennsylvania Seal of Biliteracy, I'd like to introduce a few members of our World Language Department who care enough to be here this evening, passionate about what they do, so wouldn't miss the opportunity to represent. John Deal, Spanish teacher at the high school. He's going to actually pass out a few brochures that supplement the presentation. Actually, there's probably a few more points in the brochures than we'll review here. Mary Rubelman, she teaches our exploratory course at GAMS and also teaches Spanish. And Taria Wilson, she teaches German. She's also our World Language Department chair. So I welcome all of them to the meeting. Just to start, the Seal of Biliteracy is an award given in recognition of students who can do the following: read, speak, listen, and write at a high level in English and another world language, and that would include American Sign Language. Spoke to Mr. Deal earlier about all of this, and both wanted to make sure everybody's well aware that we're not talking English, Spanish. I think a lot of people naturally start thinking Spanish right away just because of the prevalence of that language in the area and around the country. But this applies to any world language that a student would want to test for, again, including sign language. Why? Just a few quick bullet points. We obviously live in a global world that includes the economy, increasingly global cultures merging together. This is just another tool to promote civic and global engagement and opportunity. Students would also benefit just from the increased academic challenge of taking this on, demonstrating readiness to engage in, again, that global community. We talk at the high school all the time. I'm forever saying students need to be skilled and they need to be smart, no matter what they do. And this applies certainly to that. Really looking for a way to show that they have, with evidence, mastered the skill of knowing two languages. And obviously, that's something that would be attractive to many employers and post-secondary institutions. So the overall rationale in one simple bullet point: promote equity in language education and recognize and celebrate valuable skills that multilingual students would possess. Pretty easy criteria to make sense of to demonstrate proficiency in English. One would need to achieve a proficient or advanced score on the Keystone exam, or score a 3 or higher on the AP Literature exam, or for those students who are English language learners, they would essentially need to test out of those services with a score on the WIDA test that would allow them to exit from ELL classification, and they would need to do that by, as it says, October 1st of their senior or graduating year. If they would want to, any student, demonstrate proficiency in a world language, again, including sign language, they'd need to score a 4 or 5 on that particular AP language exam. Even if we don't offer the course at the high school, we offer AP Spanish some years when we have enough students to take it. This year we have a number of students who are engaged in that course in the spring, so we will run that course. But students could sit for any AP language test that they would choose if they asked us to arrange that. It would be more common to have students probably test through an online test that is really the actual assessment of performance toward proficiency in language. It's a web-based test where students would sit and work with a proctor through a test and need to score either at the intermediate or high level to demonstrate their proficiency in, again, any given language, including sign language. So they need to do both of those, prove their proficiency in English as well as the other target language. In the end, they would earn a seal of biliteracy and receive that at our end of the year award ceremony, and they'd actually get a seal that they could, if they chose, put on their diploma. again, that would be their choice. And then we would list that as an industry-recognized credential on their transcript. Some students, again, that would sit for an AP exam in their senior year might not know those results until after graduation, so this would be a little bit retroactive for some of those students. We would offer the exam to juniors and seniors. Juniors, if they didn't pass the first time, they could choose to take it again their senior year. But we would offer it up to anyone who you wouldn't have to be enrolled in a language class. And we'd want to test juniors because a lot of times they might not be continuing in a language study into their senior year. They may or they may not be. We just want to make sure that we meet them at the best point to demonstrate their proficiency. So they could take it in their junior year or senior year. And again, if they didn't pass their junior year, they could attempt it again in their senior year. This just outlines some schools in Pennsylvania that are already on this. It is actually new to Pennsylvania comparatively. Many states around the union have been doing this for a number of years. Mrs. Rubelman, who actually is new to Gettysburg this year, and we're happy to have her, came from Alaska. She said they've been doing it there for a number of years, and it's well received. This shows that it's starting to become popular in Pennsylvania, but we want to join that for the sake of our students. A couple local schools that are offering this seal would be Upper Adams School District starting last year. And I've spoken to their administrators about the process and what that looks like. And Conewago is offering the seal this year, and it's something that we could start right away. We actually started looking into it last year, setting up the mechanisms to work kids through the test. And as you know, I believe you received some communication from some stakeholders in the area, in the district, that asked about it. And our reply is yes, we're working on that. So thought we'd share a little bit with you. If you have any questions, you can certainly entertain those.
So, Mr. Lusk, I commend you and the high school team for moving in this direction. I would think as an employer, this would really be a valuable skill set to have as an employee on my team. This may sound like a silly question. A person whose primary language is Spanish, for example, what would they need to score on their English, the regular English assessment, to be able to get the bilingual certificate?
As I said, if they were proficient on the Keystone,
Okay.
if they were proficient on the Keystone, or if they earned a 3 or higher on the AP Literature exam, or if they're an English language learner, as in that is their primary language, which is your example. If they test out of ELL services, there's a test for that, the WIDA test. So if you attain a certain score in that, you actually test out of support services, and if they do that, they've proven their proficiency in English.
Yeah, I'm just curious how
They would still need to test and prove their proficiency in Spanish as well. So they would actually need to take one of those tests, whether it's the AP Spanish test or another means, as I explained.
Maybe next year at this time, it would be terrific to have some data regarding the success rate of our high school students.
We have a few students who are already interested, so we will certainly keep you posted.
I would echo Al's comments. What a great program. I mean, I highly encourage to get you moving with this. And I know firsthand from my oldest the benefits. So, thank you.
Absolutely.
Can I ask a question? What exactly is equity in language education? What does that mean?
As in, you're demonstrating that it matters, not just to be proficient in English, but to be proficient in Spanish or even German. So it's equally valuable to be proficient in any given language.
Any additional questions? Comments? Thank you.
For sure.
Board committee reports. Tim, anything?
No, we just discussed the window project as we discussed here for the admin building and the 5-year plan.
Al?
No report this evening.
Mike? Program reports, Dr. Perrin.
Yeah, just 2 items. Last Wednesday attended National Honor Society inductions, so congratulations for those students who were inducted and for the students who remain as part of the National Honor Society organization. Also, we'll be sharing some information in December. We're looking at moving to a centralized registration process for the district. Currently, folks register at individual schools, and we're looking at bringing registration to one centralized location so that everybody has the same point of contact, receives the same consistent information, and we're able to manage it that way. So it's about time to move to that direction, and we'll share some information in December regarding that.
Thank you. Our next meeting is scheduled for December 4th at 7 p.m. It's a reorganization meeting followed by the regular board meeting at 7:15. Before I ask for adjournment, I would note that the board held executive session just prior to tonight's board meeting related to a legal matter. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We stand adjourned. Thank you.